I don't use Arch, by the way. Welcome, 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 refugees, systemd refugees, H verification refugees. I'm assuming you are watching this video because of that. It's the reason I switched to this Linux distro, which is called Artix. It is based on Arch. It's been around for a couple of years. It only recently exploded in popularity because of the whole controversy of, the H verification. And I wanted to make a video about it because, I also switched to this Linux distro because I was, first of all, upset or I was fed up with systemd, and I was also not a fan of the H verification law. And this year I decided that I want to stick to my principles. Not that I didn't do that before, but really stick with it. I was on Nobara before that, okay? I was on Nobara, which already uses systemd, by the way, and decided to put in H verification. I don't stand by that, I don't stand for that, so I decided to switch. Now, I had also, because I've been now daily driving that Nobara installation for a year, and I decided maybe it's time for Arch. Because I was, kind of eyeing Arch. I wanted to get into Arch. But this whole, situation was, the catalyst on why I finally wanted to do that. And I came across Artix. Now, I think it just got... I don't remember how I started learning about Artix, but... I know why. I think it was I was looking at the list of distros that have already refused to put in H verification, and Artix was one of them. And then I was like, oh yeah, this looks interesting. Anyway, it is Arch based, so it's Arch. A couple differences because it's split off a few years ago, so there are bound to be differences. But it's basically Arch without systemd. You have, we'll just go here. You have the option of using dinit, openrc, runit, s6. I'm using openrc right now. It works perfectly fine. And I had no issues with it. I downloaded this Plasma KDE version because I like Plasma KDE, so I decided to just get the Plasma KDE version, and I was fully expected to, I fully expected to have to manually install, but I later found out that's only with the base ISO image, where you have to do the whole process of manually installing everything. But here, if you download the Plasma Mate LXQT, LXDE, Cinnamon, XFCE version, then you won't have to do that. You have Calamari, which is just like an installer. You just boot into the USB, and then you install the distro, and it does everything pretty much for you. So even if you are kind of you have some. You feel a little bit intimidated by Arch, don't be. It's easy to install these days. It's so easy to install this. Anybody could really do it. It's as easy to install Linux Mint as it is to install Arch. Now, I'm not saying it's as easy to use Arch as Linux Mint, because I'll be getting into that later on. But yeah, just install any of your choice. And I think, I'm not sure, okay, I'm not an expert, but if there are any DEs that you don't that you want that are not represented here, then I think you have to go for the base install. But if you already wanted to get one of these anyway, then just do that and it's gonna be easy. But yeah, I've no real clue what's the difference between dinit, openrc, runit, s6. I mean, I know a little bit, but at the end of the day, I don't really think it matters. Openrc, I chose because it's kind of the standard one and the most, you know, used one. So I thought might as well use that, and it works. The only problem is that there are some you know, programs or some dependencies that or like some things that depend on systemd. It's not a lot, but it is it happened to me quite a few times that I wanted to get something, that I wanted to download something, and then it said you need some kind of systemd dependency, which is to me another which is to me another reason on why I wanted to switch, not just because it's age verification, but because of systemd. I just don't get why an init system has these like things that other programs depend on. Like with OpenRC, there's nothing that depends on OpenRC. It's just my init system. Why are there some programs that just depend on systemd? The fuck? That's number one. Number two, it's made by Red Hat. I distrust Red Hat nowadays, especially since they so easily complied with putting age verification in, and because I learned a little bit more about Red Hat Foundation. So yeah, I think Artix is kind of, you know, it is Arch. So if you want to get Arch, just get Artix or Void or whatever. Like there are other such forks. Does Void have non-systemd dependency? I honestly don't know. But I just heard it mentioned as well. But just get any Linux distro without systemd dependency, and I think Artix is a mighty fine choice. It's Arch, which I think is probably one of the best distros, and the best that I've used in my experience right now. I think it just works. First of all, it just works. I was surprised on how easy I got it to work in, because you know, people always say like, oh, Arch Linux, but at the end of the day, it's not. We don't have 2005 anymore, okay, or 2010. I don't know when the fuck Arch came out. Anyway, we have 2026, and Linux is just usable. It is, okay. Any distro you could just use. Any modern distro, it just fucking works, and that has been kind of the case for like 10 years already, or some like 8 years or whatever. So yeah, it works. Arch, because how, you know, widely used it is, how infamous it is, the documentation is also very good. If you ever have a problem, Arch is probably going to be the solution, and I feel like it's also the best distro if you want to do like niche shit, because I feel like whenever I want to do something very niche on my PC, like something that needs some kind of advanced setup, I need to get some like weird ass program that is meant for, that has a target audience of 10 people and I'm one of them, then there's always an Arch version, but there's not always like a Fedora version. Okay, so I think yeah, especially for advanced users, Arch is, I think, the way. Like I mentioned, it just works. With a caveat, you have to rely on the terminal a little bit more than you would have, for example, with Fedora, Linux Mint, or whatever, because those have flat hub or like a, you know, packet, like GUI package managements and shit. But to me, that's personally not a problem. I was using the terminal anyway. So if you have some experience with the terminal, that definitely helps. So yeah, all I can say about this distro is that it's good. You should use it. If you're using Arch right now, you should just switch to this, because it's a better Arch, because it doesn't have systemd, it doesn't have age verification, and I think we need to kind of stand for that, because most of you guys watching probably have switched to Linux from, you know, Windows, maybe Mac OS, simply because you were tired of Windows bullshit, like Windows getting worse and worse, Microsoft's bullshit, spying on you, that it's yeah, basically malware that you're downloading to your PC. And you're kind of probably somebody who's sick of these corporations just fucking us over, don't like invading our privacy and making software worse. And if you are somebody with these morals, or like with these principles, then I think you should really consider switching from the distro you're using right now, if it's using systemd, or if it wants to implement H verification, and to choose another distro. This could either be something like Artix, it could be something else entirely, or it could just be a fork of the distro you're using that has systemd removed and no H verification implemented. I think it's imperative that we do this, because if we give them an inch, they will take a foot. If we give them that foot, they will take a mile, and so on. And especially since this is only, implemented in Brazil and, California, and I think some other states want to do that as well. If that succeeds there and they see, oh yeah, we can just get through with this without, any backlash, without any major issues, then best believe it, other countries, other governments are just going to copy that. Okay? Especially here in Europe, they like to do whatever America does a few years later. You can probably agree with that, I mean, not everything and not in the same way, but a lot of the times politicians and the such, they like to kind of just look what America is doing and then do it too. So yeah, I think it's what is the word for it? It's inexcusable for any distro to comply with this tyrannical law, which I think is tyrannical. It's literally 1984, or at least a stepping stone to 1984. And I simply do not trust, fundamentally do not trust any distro that just implements that into their system without any fight. I cannot trust them. I cannot trust to put that software onto my machine, that OS onto my machine. I'm talking about any OS here, not just Linux. Any OS that has that. I mean, I know Midnight BSD already implemented that. They were the first to implement this. Okay? If you're using Midnight BSD, use a different BSD. Use FreeBSD, OpenBSD, whatever BSD. I don't know. There are probably some other BSDs that I forgot to mention. Anyway, I fundamentally cannot trust any distribution that complies with this law, because what else would they be willing to comply with? Is all I'm saying. I cannot trust that. So personally, I feel like you shouldn't either, and you should abandon or like jump ship to a distro that respects your privacy, that respects you as a user. And in my case, this is Artix, but Artix is obviously not the only one. There's a list, I'm gonna link it down below, made by Landuk, a list of Linux distros that comply or not. And just take a look at that, take a look at which do not comply, and choose any of those. Then it's gonna be a safe bet for you. Anyway, that was it. I just wanted to give my 2 cents. I just wanted to put this into the ether to kind of like as my resistance. I know it's always some memed resistance on the internet, but I think in this day and age, resistance is thought on the internet, because that is where they are trying to control us. So we need to fight on the internet as well. Of course, in the physical world, we should also do it, but you cannot really do that unless we want to, I don't know, storm the Capitol or whatever. Anyway, I hope I at least convinced one person to switch Linux distros to a non-systemd alternative, a non-H verification alternative. And I don't know, I see you guys when I do maybe another video. I don't know. Bye.